So hi everyone, so this is just a continuation of our discussion on PAS number 38, Intangible Assets. Particularly ang pag-uusapan po natin dito is the subsequent measurement of our intangible assets. Pag sinabi nating subsequent measurement, we are talking about the measurement after initial recognition. As stated in the previous video, meron po tayong dalawang method na pwedeng gamitin. You can use the cost model or the revaluation model. Alright, in terms po ng cost model, let's talk first about the cost model. Yung cost model po natin, the intangible assets is to be measured at its cost less any accumulated amortization, less any accumulated impairment loss. Alright. Under naman po ng revaluation model, so, revaluation model po natin, since i-revalue natin yan, we will start it by its fair value. Fair value niya on the date of revaluation. And then, ibabawas natin dito yung kanyang mga subsequent amortization and subsequent impairment losses. Alright. So, please take note po, since fair value yung kailangan natin dito, ang revaluation model ay ginagamit natin only if there is an active market for our intangible assets. If wala po siyang active market, it will be difficult for us to identify its fair value. Thus, revaluation model is hard to use. Okay, so based po dito sa measurement natin, there is a new account here or new term here, and that is the amortization. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng amortization? What do we mean by amortization? Para hindi tayo mahirapan, let's put in mind that amortization is actually share the same concept as that of depreciation in the case of tangible assets. Alright? Kasi pag sinabi nating amortization, it is the systematic allocation of our intangible asset over its useful life. So sa amortization, in order for us to amortize something or amortize our intangible assets in this case, ito yung mga kailangan nating information. Of course, you have to know the cost. Alin ba yung cost na yan? Yan yung initially ni-recognize mo on the date of recognition. So, recap natin. Ano yung components ng cost natin? So, ayan po yung, kung na-purchase yan, that's the purchase price. And all directly attributable cost. Aside from cost, we have to know also residual value. Okay? We need to know its useful life. Okay? And let's have discussion on these three things. Yung cost natin, as I've discussed earlier na yan. Pagdating po dun sa residual value, it's literally the value of our intangible assets at the end of its expected useful life. And please take note that the residual value is assumed to be 0. Ang ine-expect po natin at the end of its useful life, wala yung value. Unless merong third party na nag-commit na i-acquire or bibilhin niya yung intangible assets at the end of its useful life. And there is an active market for it. Kung merong third party, kung merong active market, then pwede nating lagyan ng value yung residual value. Pero kung hindi po present itong dalawa na to, we are assuming that the residual value is 0. Alright? In terms naman po ng useful life, ang useful life po can be finite or indefinite. Okay, may mga intangible assets tayo na we can identify na, sige, hanggang 10 taon lang. Pagkatapos ng 10 taon, di na natin may exercise yung right natin over these intangible assets. Okay? Pero kapag indefinite, wala, limitless. No? Sky's the limit. Hindi nagbigay ng definite number of years para ma-enjoy ng entity yung benefits coming from the intangible assets. And what is the implication of having a finite and indefinite life? The implication is this. Kung finite yan, dyan papasok yung pwede yung in terms of years or in terms of units produce. If that is the case, then yes, let's amortize it. Okay? Pero kapag ka po indefinite yan or limitless ang benefits na makukuha mo dyan, therefore, hindi mo siya i-amortize. Instead, iti-test mo siya for impairment. Okay? Pag sinabing iti-test mo siya for impairment, i-compare mo ang kanyang carrying amount at ang kanyang recoverable amount. Yung recoverable amount niya, pwede yung realizable value or yung kanyang value in use, whichever is higher. Okay? Anong mangyayari sa comparison na yan? Anong possible na mangyari sa comparison na yan? Yung carrying amount, posibleng mas mataas kesa sa kanyang recoverable value or recoverable amount. If that is the case, then this is not impaired. But if the carrying amount tends to be lower than its recoverable amount, then we can say that the intangible asset is impaired. And if that is impaired, then an impairment loss must be recognized by means of debiting your impairment loss and crediting your accumulated impairment loss. Okay. So, yung focus natin ay yung intangible assets na merong finite life. Dahil yung may finite life yung ating ina-amortize. And paano tayo nag-amortize? Well, depende sa pattern ng benefit na makukuha mo. But the most commonly na method of amortization natin is the straight line method. Okay? Ating straight line method of amortization. Ang straight line method natin, para lang din yung straight line method ng depreciation. Okay? How it is computed? So, yung amortization natin, compute natin yan by means of getting our amortizable amount. And amortizable amount is actually the cost less its residual value. You divide it by the useful life. And how are you going to record the amortization? You simply debit amortization expense and credit the intangible asset, which is the common na ginagamit. But instead of intangible asset, you can also use accumulated amortization. And that's the discussion on the amortization. Okay? So, yung amortization, be it a cost model or the revaluation model, we are computing for the amortization. Kailan po magsisimula ang amortization period? Kailan magsisimulang i-amortize natin ang ating intangible asset? So, magsisimula yan kapag ka, of course, available for use na ang ating intangible asset. At kailan natin masasabing available for use na yan? Kapag ka it is in the location or nasa condition na siya intended para sa kanya. O kailan naman po matatapos or kailan magsisis yung ating amortization? Kapag ka po ang ating intangible asset ay de-recognize na. Okay? Pag sinabing de-recognize na, i-remove na natin siya sa ating book. And another video will be for the discussion of the de-recognition. Okay? Just an additional information. If ever there are changes in our residual value or changes in our life or yung mga useful life natin, okay, please take note na ang changes pong ito ay considered as change in accounting estimate. At kung change in accounting estimate yan, of course, it has to be treated currently and prospectively. So that's it for the discussion of subsequent measurement of intangible assets.